So it begins. As I told you guys, some of these more mainstream, I guess, bigger vegan channels will be coming out in full support of the government agenda insofar as the Plandemic is concerned. And Mike the Vegan is the first one, in my opinion. Now, Ryan from Happy Healthy Vegan, and some other channels have been pushing this idea that, meat bad because that's where the virus came from, so on and so forth. But that was to be expected from any low-functioning vegan, basically. That's to be expected. This is just what they've been brainwashed with forever by people like Dr. Greger, so on and so forth. So they took the opportunity to, get the clicks, get the views, and push the vegan agenda. But Mick the Vegan, that's what it says. He's taken it a step further, and others will follow soon enough. But he's basically telling on himself something that I suspected he was for quite some time, and that is NWO shill, basically. That's what he is. But more on that in just a second. He's coming out and, quote-unquote, debunking the documentary Plandemic. And look, I don't trust Dr. Judy. In my opinion, she is a disinformation agent. She's going to lead you down the wrong path. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. There's a lot of truth in what she says, but ultimately, a lot of her claims are easy to disbelieve and debunk. They're just so extraordinary. And that's exactly what Mike the Vegan is doing, right? He's not going after other doctors that are speaking out and they're more believable, or scientists, right? He's going after Judy because it's easy to go after her. It's easy to destroy her. And I found it really suspicious how her documentary got millions of views very quickly. Just because it got taken down, that doesn't mean anything. That could be a way of making it seem more credible. Oh, YouTube took it down, so it must be credible or something like that. No, it doesn't mean that. It does not follow. That's not a logical argument. It isn't. Okay, there are lots of other doctors speaking out, and they're not getting the views. And their arguments are way better than what Judy's talking about, right? But Judy's whole thing is, let's get China. Let's get China! She's not saying it, but that's what her theories and the things that she's saying are leading to. Let's get China! Those of you that might be waking up, seeing through the deception, you're going to be misdirected, redirected, and sent to China. And that's exactly, in my opinion, what Judy Mikovits, whether she knows it or not, what her agenda accomplishes. Hopefully I'm wrong, but that's just this feeling that I get. Okay, lots of doctors speaking out with far more compelling arguments. And they're not discredited doctors, right? And they're not getting the views, so it is what it is. Anyway, Mick the Vegan is taking it a step further than some of these other vegans, and some of them will follow suit. Because, as I always believed, and now I believe that more than ever, he's just a shill. He's bought and paid for, basically. He was bought and paid for to push veganism, to push tiny homes, which is a precursor to smart cities, right? If you don't know, he has another channel where he talks about living and building and living in a tiny home, super, super tiny coffin home, right? Part and parcel and a precursor to coffin apartments in smart cities, all right? He is, like a lot of vegans, but, very, very big on environmentalism and the green agenda. And now he's pushing the mainstream negative of the pandemic, basically. He's all in. Now he's debunking a documentary that, in my opinion, if it wasn't designed to be that, it was allowed to become that by our overlords because it's easy to debunk. Or it's easy to convince people that these claims are so incredible. Well, you shouldn't believe them, basically. And they are. They are. A lot of the claims she makes are easy to believe and truthful, but then there's just enough of this sci-fi, if you will, type of stuff that makes the average person very skeptical. And Mike is taking advantage of that and attacking the documentary. And this is, in my opinion, just my opinion, guys, just my opinion. Two sides of the same coin, leading you down the wrong path. Anyway, I'm not going to analyze Mike's video, but all you have to do is watch 2 or 3 of his videos, like with all vegans, and you'll see how he's contradicted himself a million times in the past. When it's convenient, correlation is not causation. He points that out because meat bad, right? But now, in this video, all of a sudden, correlation is causation, or he insinuates that it's legit, that it's something we should, pay more attention to, because that's the narrative he's pushing, and it helps to support the narrative that he is pushing, right? In many instances in other videos, he said that, this study is not peer-reviewed, so it's BS. We don't need to look into it whatsoever. We just need to dismiss it. And now he's pushing preliminary studies, right? Stuff that will most likely, possibly, I don't know, be thrown out eventually. Definitely not peer-reviewed, right? Hasn't even gone through the peer review process. But all of a sudden, these preliminary studies mean something. And, I bet you, I don't have to do this, but I bet you if you scroll down and you check out some of these preliminary studies, you'll see that it's Big Pharma supporting them, or that the people in those studies are connected to Big Pharma. But anytime anybody was connected to the meat or egg or milk industry and proposing a study that those natural ancestral foods are good for us, right? Mike was the first one to point it out and discredit, quote unquote, discredit them by means of an ad hominem argument, basically. Cleverly or not so cleverly disguised one. It is what it is. But the most ridiculous and ludicrous thing that he says in this propaganda video of his is that, not only has some study proved, quote unquote, proved that hydrochloroquine is not a good cure for COVID-19, even though tons of doctors have come out and said that it is, right? That doesn't matter. What's happening on the ground, that doesn't matter. They did it wrong. Here's a study, right? And then there's, whatever. That's that instance where he uses correlation as if that were somehow able to prove anything. But the most ridiculous thing in the entire video that follows from that little instance is that he seems to suggest that, and this is supposed to be a logical argument, right? Well, if hydrochloroquine was so effective, the pharmaceutical companies would be making millions or billions or whatever he says of dollars by selling it because everybody would buy it, right? Which, okay, as opposed to vaccines, right? Like this just, he can't be that dumb, okay? He can't be, he has to be a shill. He has to be a terribly dishonest, bought and paid for person. Because he seems to believe, right, and he wants you to believe, that selling a cure for a disease, right, to the sick people, which are, 10% of the population, maybe less, right? 2% of the population, selling a cure to those people is more profitable than selling a vaccine to 7 billion, right? An experimental vaccine, something I will talk about in an upcoming video. He wants you to believe. Now think about this. Or do you even have to? That selling the vaccine, that's selling a cure to a disease that maybe 1 or 2% of the population would ever need, right? Because most people are asymptomatic. Most people don't even get sick when they have this virus. But selling a cure to something like 1 or 2% of the population is somehow more profitable than selling a vaccine to everybody. Mike the Vegan is an NWO shill who's been pushing the Green Revolution and Smart City agenda for many years now, so don't expect him to start telling you the truth now. One reassuring thing is seeing how many people are calling his BS. Vegans, too. I skimmed through the comments, and you should if you're interested. And most people, more than half, are questioning the narrative and correcting Mike the Vegan and disagreeing with him. Most of them don't have the balls to wake up and see how this guy has been lying to them forever and will continue to lie to you and brainwash you. Because, you know, he's still vegan, so you slap that V on it and it's got to be somewhat legit, right? So they're not brave enough to completely call him out and unsubscribe and not listen to anything this guy has to say. But a ton of people are definitely questioning him, more so than the ones who aren't. So that's reassuring. That's good to see. But Mike the Vegan, come on, man. Come on, man. It's good to see you vegans who have been brainwashed for so long finally starting to wake up. But keep going, guys. This is just the beginning. Mike the Vegan is an NWO shill, period. All right? Thanks for watching.